Hello there you guys, welcome to one of my videos. Manchester United lose 2-0 to Newcastle at St James's Park. Manchester United were very poor. Newcastle played Manchester United off the park. Newcastle were better defensively. They were better in the midfield. And their attack looked better. In all areas of the pitch, Newcastle were far superior to Man United. Erik ten Hag came out and said the Magpies were more determined. Newcastle have now overtaken Man United. Newcastle are third. Manchester United have dropped down to fourth. Man United are winless in the last 3 league games, and Man United have failed to score a goal in the last 3 league games. Manchester United only registered 1 shot on target against Newcastle. Joseph Willock opened the scoring for Newcastle. It came from a header. Joseph Willock could have had an hat-trick in the game. He had 2 opportunities. De Gea made a double save in that first half. Callum Wilson got Newcastle's second goal. That came from a header from a set piece. Callum Wilson came on in the game. So there were the goals. Alain Saint-Maximin provided an assist, and Kieran Trippier got an assist. Alexander Isak had a very good headed chance. Sean Longstaff had a very good chance from 25 yards out. Went past the far post. Newcastle had a total of 22 shots in the game. They also hit the post as well. But De Gea made some fantastic saves. If it weren't for De Gea, it would have been at least 4 or 5-0 to Newcastle. It was the 3rd time Man United had played Newcastle this season. Man United did beat Newcastle in the Carabao Cup final 2-0. That was Erik ten Hag's first trophy as Man United manager, was the Carabao Cup. And it was Man United's first trophy in 6 years. Man United did draw with Newcastle at Old Trafford in the league earlier on in the season, 0-0. But I've got to give credit to Newcastle. They've endured a fantastic season to their standards. There's a very good chance that they're going to get Champions League qualification for next season. Got to give Eddie Howe credit. He's done a fantastic job as Newcastle manager. Eddie Howe has been the Newcastle manager for around 16 months. He got appointed in as the Newcastle manager in November 2021. And last year, he signed a long-term contract with Newcastle. Before Newcastle, Eddie Howe managed Bournemouth. He was at Bournemouth for several years, and he also had a spell at Burnley. Eddie Howe was the one that replaced Steve Bruce. Newcastle ended up sacking Steve Bruce because he wasn't good enough. At one point, Newcastle had Rafa Benitez. They were actually very consistent under him, but Rafa Benitez ended up resigning because he wasn't getting backed. As you all know, Newcastle are the richest club in the world, or one of the richest clubs in the world. Obviously, Newcastle's owners are the Saudi Arabians. Before the Saudi Arabians, Newcastle had Mike Ashley. Mike Ashley, ruined Newcastle. He was heavily criticised for so many years, and Newcastle fans were relieved when Mike Ashley ended up selling the club. He was Newcastle's owner for around 13 years. Newcastle, of course, were missing, 2 players yesterday? Obviously, there was no Imal Kraft, but, he don't get in the team anyway. And Anthony Gordon had been injured as well. Newcastle got him from Everton. Obviously, Man United had players missing. Of course, Garnacho is out for quite a few weeks. He came off injured in Man United's 0-0 draw with Southampton. Anthony Martial's been hampered with injuries this season. Van der Beek's out for the rest of the season. Don't play anyway because he's a squad player. Casemiro obviously missed the game against Newcastle yesterday because he was suspended. Our midfield looks very poor without Casemiro in it. Of course, Tom Heaton is out for a few weeks. So they're the players Man United had missing. But yeah, this is a setback, and Manchester United need to recover from this. Like I've mentioned, we've had setbacks this season, and we've mostly recovered from them well. My perceptions have not changed on Erik ten Hag. I still believe he is the right manager for Manchester United. I'm backing him. He does need time. This has been his first season as United manager. Don't get me wrong, there has been some games this season where I've questioned some of his decisions. But you can't just blame the manager, the players have got to take responsibility as well. But I thought yesterday's game was probably Man United's worst performance under Erik ten Hag. You can see the progress Erik ten Hag has made. He's won us the Carabao Cup, his first trophy as United manager. He's got us to the semi-finals of the FA Cup. Got us to the quarter-finals of the Europa League. And, got us up to 3rd in the league at one point. Obviously, now we've dropped to 4th. And revert back to the start of this season, I did say ten Hag's expectations this season is to get Man United a top 4 finish. But if ten Hag can win another trophy this season and get us in that top 4, I'd underline that and say that's a successful season. Then obviously build from that. Ten Hag is almost a year into his reign as Man United manager. He got appointed in as the Man United manager in April last year. When Erik ten Hag got appointed in as Man United manager, he signed a 3-year deal, so he's under contract with Man United till 2025. A few weeks ago, it said Erik ten Hag is set to earn a new Man United contract regardless of the club's owner. And revert back to February, ten Hag won Premier League Manager of the Month. Ten Hag was the one that replaced Ralph Rangnick. So anyway guys, that's everything to update you with. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel if you do consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless.